In today's video, we will discuss about science and tech previous year UPSC questions in the past 5 years in UPSC. So this is the part 1 of the series that we are discussing here. Now let's start. First question. The known forces of the nature can be divided into 4 classes: gravity, electromagnetism, weak nuclear force and strong nuclear force. Which of them is wrong? The first statement is gravity is the strongest of the 4. Second statement, electromagnetism only act on particles with electric charge. Third statement, weak nuclear forces causes radioactivity. Fourth statement is strong force holds protons and neutrons inside the nucleus of an atom. So which among them is correct? The correct answer is gravity is the strongest of the 4. Basically, gravity is the weakest, okay? Gravity is the weakest force of attraction. So there are 4 forces in nature: gravity, electromagnetism, weak nuclear and strong nuclear. Weak nuclear means that force which we use for civilian purposes, for energy generation purposes. Strong nuclear on the other hand is the one by which the military activities are done, okay? Strong nuclear force. So when it is an uncontrolled reaction, it is used for the military activities, and the nuclear force is very strong. There is a difference. See, the nuclear force is very strong only when the distance is small. If there is if the distance between the two things, okay, are very big, then the nuclear force will be weak over here, okay? So in a very small range, the nuclear force is very strong, right? So the first statement is wrong here, that gravity is the strongest of the 4. Actually, it is the weakest of the 4. Similarly, we are able to sustain, or we are able to walk freely on the earth because this is weak. If it were strong, that means we would be attracted towards the wall, or we won't have been able to even move if it were the strong one. Second one, electromagnetism acts on the electric charge. That is very correct. Similarly, weak nuclear forces causes radioactivity. Correct. Strong nuclear force holds the proton and neutron inside the nucleus together. That is why, although protons are positively charged, still they do not repel themselves and move out of nucleus, because the protons and neutrons are held together in the nucleus by strong nuclear force, which acts only at a small distance. Next question. The effort to detect the existence of Higgs boson particle have become a frequent news in the recent past. What is the importance or importances of discovering this particular particle? First option is, it will. The first statement is, it will enable us to understand as to why elementary particles have masses. Second statement, it will enable us in the near future to develop the technology of transferring matter from one point to another without traversing the physical space between them. Third statement, it will enable us to create better fuels for nuclear mission. So which among them is correct? 1 only, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically, in this diagram, if you see, this is the diagram of Satyendranath Bose, an Indian mathematician and scientist. This is the picture of Albert Einstein. Both of them actually discovered this boson particle. But Professor Higgs got the Nobel Prize for this discovery of Higgs boson particle. So Satyendranath Bose was given the credit when the name of this particle was given from his name. So that is how this particle is called as Higgs boson particle. However, it was a controversy that actually Satyendranath Bose should have got the Nobel Prize for that, as Albert Einstein. So which of the following statement is correct here? So it is only one. The statement 1 is correct here, that it will enable us to understand why the elementary particles have mass. This is the correct option. So third one is wrong, that it will give us better fuel technology. That is wrong. And second one, we have to traverse the matter from one place to another without crossing the physical space between them. That is also wrong. There is nothing like that. Third question, the mycorrhizal biotechnology has been used in rehabilitating degraded site because mycorrhiza enables the plant to do dash. Option A, resist drought and increase absorptive area. Option B, tolerate extremes of pH. Option C, resist disease infestation. So 1 only, 1 and 3 only, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically, mycorrhiza biology is the symbiotic relationship between the plant roots and certain soil fungi that exists over there, okay? So when the plant have so many roots, okay, some kind of nodules are over there, okay, if you see this, okay? So these fungi have a symbiotic relationship with the plant and they increase the surface area. If the surface area is increasing, that means what? More and more absorption will be done. So the effect of that will be to resist drought, obviously, to increase the absorptive area, to tolerate extremes of pH, that means soil pH will be maintained, resist disease infestation. So all of these are correct. 1, 2, 3 should be the answer. So the soil fungi play a key role in nutrient cycling in the ecosystem and also protect plants against environmental and cultural stress. Third question, recombinant DNA technology, which is also called as genetic engineering. It allows genes to be transferred from dash to dash. So first statement, across different species of the plant, from animals to plant, from microorganisms to higher organisms, which among them is correct? So the answer is all of the above. Basically, in genetic engineering, the genes can be transferred across different species of the plant, that is correct. From animals to plant also it can be done. From microorganisms to higher organisms also it can be done. So all of the above is the answer here. Next question, which one of the following diseases can be transmitted from one person to another through tattooing? So as we know, when a person does the tattoo, so there is a needle that is involved here. Okay, so this particular process is called as tattooing. Now let's get back to the question. Chikungunya, hepatitis B, HIV, AIDS. So which among the following can spread through tattooing? 1 only, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. So basically see, there is a needle over here in the tattooing. So when let us say there is an infected person from which the tattooing has on whom the tattooing has been done, and then a second person comes, Mr. B, who wants the tattooing to be done. Since we are using the same needle, so here the hepatitis virus and the HIV virus, okay, these can move to the. So here the disease of hepatitis and HIV are communicable and they are transferred via the blood. Okay, so that is how hepatitis and HIV can also spread via tattooing, because we are using the same infected needle. So blood is getting transferred. Okay, understood. But however, chikungunya is a vector-borne disease. Vector-borne disease means what? It gets into the body via mosquito. Okay, it gets into the body via mosquito. Mosquito is the carrier of the pathogen. Okay, mosquito bite does not will simply not lead to it. Mosquito will carry the thing and then it will be given to the body. So that is how mosquito is a vector. That means it is the disease carrier. So chikungunya is not communicable via blood. So hepatitis and HIV will be the answer. The answer is 2 and 3 only. Next question, consider the following statements: calcium, iron and sodium. Which of the following are required by the human body for contraction of muscles? So for contraction, which all things are required? 1, 2, 3 is the answer, all of the above. Calcium as well as iron as well as sodium, all of these are used. Generally, calcium has a utility in building of the bones. Okay, so for building strong bones, calcium has a utility. Similarly, metabolism also. Iron is for avoiding the hemophilia, or iron is for avoiding diseases like anemia. Okay, iron basically is responsible for the blood formation, hemoglobin formation. Similarly, sodium has the role and responsibility in the nervous system activities. Okay, so as we know, when we are communicating, okay, when our body communicates to the nervous system and the nervous system gives the reply, we depend on a small functional unit which is called as a neuron. Okay, we depend on a small functional unit called as a neuron, which has such a kind of structure. So this is the head of that and this is the tail of that. These are the dendrites. Okay, similarly, when information is obtained is given from one axon to from one neuron to another neuron, here there is a gap which is called as the synapse. Okay, a gap is formed which is called as the synapse. In this synapse, we depend on sodium ions, potassium ions for this convey of the message. So this is how from one neuron to another to another to another. So this is a relay system by which via all the neurons from our hand, let us say I am touching a hot cup. Okay, so my hand will give the sense to the neurons, and then the relay action will let the nervous system know, and the nervous system will give the feedback that we have to remove the hand. I have to remove the hand. Okay, so yes, so all of the three, however, are included in the contraction of muscles. Next question, with reference to Agni 5 missile, which of the following are correct? So Agni 5 is a surface to surface propelled by liquid only. It can target warhead up to 7500 km away. So which of the following is correct about Agni missile? Basically only one is correct, that Agni is a surface to surface. So how do you remember Agni is surface to air or surface to surface? So basically, as we know, Agni means fire. Now fire happens on the earth, so it is surface to surface. That means what? We will launch the missile from the surface and it will also hit at the surface. Okay, we have the base at the surface and it will also hit at the surface, that is Agni. Then we have to see that Agni has some 6 series. Okay, currently 1 to 5 Agni are already deployed. Agni 6 is in plan. Another thing that we have to understand for this question, for solving this question, is that, so first option is correct here. Another thing that we have to understand is that what is the 7500 kilometer, how do we know what is the range of that? So there is something called as ICBM. Okay, whenever a missile is able to hit a target in the next continent, okay, when from one continent we can hit on another continent, then it is called as intercontinental ballistic missile. Okay, intercontinental ballistic missile. So the continent which is nearest to India is Africa, okay, and it is nearly 5000 kilometer away. So when we cross a range of 5000 kilometer of the target shooting, then we are going for ICBM. So in India, we have only 2 classes of missile which have the ICBM technology. That means it can hit another continent also, a target in another continent also. Now first is Agni 5, which has a target of 5000 km. Similarly, there's another missile called as Surya missile. It is also ICBM. And Agni 6, which is to be deployed, it has a range of 8000 km. As we know, our Earth has a total circumference of 40,000 km. Okay, 40,000 km. So if the range is 20,000, then entire Earth can be covered. Okay, understanding? So similarly for a continent, 5000 km, like that. Okay, this is how the things are devised. Okay, I hope you would have understood what is ICBM, what is this. So here by the question, it is surface to surface, correct. It is not propelled by only liquid. Third thing, the range is not 7500, the range is only 3500 km, this one. Okay, how do we know that? Because we have only 2 ICBMs. So 75,000 would mean that it is ICBM, but Agni 4 is not ICBM. Agni 5 is ICBM, Agni 6 is ICBM. Next one, see, in India the cluster B is Guar-Phali. It is traditionally used as a vegetable or animal feed, but recently the cultivation of this particular thing has assumed significance. So why is that? Why the Guar-Phali has got so much of significance? The first option, the oil extracted from the seed can be used in manufacture of biodegradable plastic. The gum from the seed is used in the extraction of shale gas. The leaf extracted from this plant has properties of antihistamine. Similarly, biodiesel, in biodiesel it has an application. So the answer is option B. The gum is made from the seed and it is used to make for the extraction of shale gas. Basically, what is shale gas and what is this process? How is Guar-Phali used over here? I'll just explain that in 1 minute. Okay. Basically, shale gas is that kind of gas which is formed inside the rocks. Okay. The gas that is formed inside the rocks, if there is clay trapped in the rocks, within the layer of the rocks the clay is trapped, then that will get transformed into gas, which is nothing but shale gas. Now since in the rock the gas is already trapped, to get shale gas it is very difficult. So there is a process that we do which is called as fracking. Okay, imagine this is the earth's surface. Okay, and here below the rocks, below the earth's surface, we have the rocks where shale gas reserves are there. Now we will go for a process called as fracking. Okay, we will go for a process called as fracking. Fracking or hydraulic fracturing is what it is called as. Now see, we are setting up a tower over here, and we are allowing water and some stones to pass through this particular channel. Now what will happen? It will create pressure and the rocks will crack. Since the rocks will crack, the gas will escape out. Okay, so guar, the gum that is made from guar makes this thing more and more thicker. Okay, so that is why guar is used in the extraction of shale gas. Understood, everybody? Next question. So we have to match here the vitamin with the respective diseases: vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin A, scurvy, rickets, night blindness. Which of the following is correct? The answer is 1 and 2. So vitamin C causes the disease scurvy. Scurvy means bleeding of the gums. Okay, so when we see these are the tooth, if these are the tooth, these are the gum part. Okay, the upper pink area. So bleeding of the gums is called as scurvy. That happens because of deficiency of vitamin C. Similarly, vitamin D causes rickets. Rickets means what? The bones will be bent like this towards inward. Okay, the bones will be bent inwards. Okay, that is called as rickets. Okay, similarly, E, vitamin E does not cause night blindness. Okay, vitamin E does not cause night blindness. Because of deficiency of vitamin E, there is another disease that is caused, that is called as pellagra. Pellagra means what? In the body there are black patches. Okay, the body starts burning up, there is huge amount of deficiency. So this is a very serious disease, pellagra, which happens because of the deficiency of vitamin E. Okay, Fine. Similarly, night blindness. Night blindness happens because of the deficiency of vitamin A, which is also called as retinol. Okay, retinol. So the answer is 1 and 2. Vitamin C, vitamin D are correct. Next one. Which one of the following is the process involved in photosynthesis? Photosynthesis involves which of the following? Potential energy is released to form free energy. Free energy is converted into potential energy and stored. Food is oxidized to release carbon dioxide and water. Oxygen is taken, carbon dioxide and water are given out. Basically the answer is B. Okay, the free energy is converted into potential energy and is stored. Okay, the free energy is converted into potential energy and is stored. Okay. So why this potential energy? Because it is in a static form. Okay, so potential energy means what? The energy is stored in a static form or at a great height. Kinetic energy on the other hand is the energy associated with a body in motion. In addition to the fingerprinting scanning, which of the following can be used in the biometric identification of a person? So if a person is using biometric, then we use fingerprinting. Apart from that, which all things can be used? Iris scanning, retinal scanning, voice recognition. Which can be used here? The answer is 1, 2, 3. All of the above can be used here. Okay. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct regarding vegetative propagation of the plants? Vegetative propagation produces clonal population. Vegetative propagation helps in eliminating the virus. Vegetative propagation can be practiced most of the year. So basically, what is vegetative propagation? That is something I want to say you. Suppose the plants, okay, suppose there is a plant which cannot reproduce sexually. Okay, if a plant cannot reproduce sexually, then it will go for vegetative propagation or asexual reproduction. For example, from the roots growth will be there. Okay, from the roots the reproduction will happen. Or for example, this is a leaf. Okay, this is a leaf. So in the leaf the buds will be formed, and from each bud one tree can grow. So these are nothing but the examples of vegetative propagation, like growing from the root, growing from the stem, growing from the leaves. So these are all the somatic organs from which the plant can also replicate itself or reproduce itself. So the question is that vegetative propagation will produce a clonal population, or the vegetative propagation can help in eliminating virus. That means if we go for vegetative propagation, virus will automatically be eliminated. Then it can be practiced for most of the year or not. The answer is 1 and 3. Okay, so there is no chance of elimination of virus if a plant goes for asexual reproduction. Other two are correct. So vegetative propagation is an asexual method of plant reproduction that occurs in the leaves, root and stem. This can occur through fragmentation or regeneration of specific vegetative parts of the plant. I hope you are understanding everything. Okay, like for example, we can see in this particular diagram, see the buds are created over here. Okay, the buds are created over here. The buds can again go to new plants. Which of the following are or is the example or examples of chemical change? So crystallization of sodium chloride, melting of ice, souring of milk. Very, very easy question. So which of them is a chemical change? The answer is 3 only. Souring of milk only will be the chemical change. Basically, what do we call as a chemical change and what do we call as a physical change? If the change is irreversible, then we call it a chemical change. Okay, like for example, if a milk is turning sour, that means what? Curd is formed or it is getting wasted. In that case, we cannot restore it back. So this reaction is irreversible. So this is a chemical change. Melting of ice can be reversible again. Similarly, crystallization of sodium chloride can also be reversible reaction. Okay. So souring of milk is a chemical change. So please remember, chemical change means what? The reaction which is irreversible in nature. Many of you would have put 1 in the answer, that crystallization of sodium chloride. Again, sodium chloride is a chemical, so something should be related. But see, this is not the answer. Okay. This is how UPSC confuses. Okay, the answer is 3 only, souring of milk. Next one, which of the following pairs is correctly matched? Spacecraft and purpose. So these 3 spacecraft were asked for and their purpose are given in the other side. So we have to see that which of them is correct. So 1 only, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically, 2 and 3 is the answer. That is, messenger is for mapping and investigation. Also, it was a very generalizing statement. So this needs to be correct. Okay, mapping, investigation of what or who is doing it, nothing was. So this is obviously correct. Voyager 1, Voyager 2 exploring the outer solar system. Okay, that is also correct. So see, Cassini-Huygens is for the Saturn observation. Similarly, Messenger is for the Mercury observation. Similarly, Voyager 1 and 2 is for the solar system observation. Okay, so 2 and 3 are correct here. Cassini is not for Venus, it was for Saturn. Basically, in the year 2004, Cassini-Huygens was actually deployed in the orbit of Saturn to look into various things like the availability of water or springs in the Saturn. Okay. However, in the year 2017, the life was almost completed. It had grown much older. So what did we do? NASA basically destroyed this particular satellite by itself. Okay, this particular spacecraft or satellite by itself, so that it does not contaminate the other space vehicles. Next up, consider the following techniques or phenomena: budding, grafting, cytoplasmic male sterility, gene silencing. Which of the following are used to create transgenic crops? Okay, which of the following can be used to create transgenic crops? The answer is 2 and 3. Okay, cytoplasmic male sterility and gene silencing. So what are these two? We will just discuss. Before that, budding and grafting. What is budding? As I said, this is a leaf. Let us say this is a leaf. Okay, this is a leaf, and the buds are formed over here. Okay, buds are formed over here. So from each bud, a tree can grow, a plant can grow. So that is called as budding. That is asexual reproduction. Similarly, grafting. Grafting means what? Let us say there is a rose plant which is red in color. Okay, and let us say there is a yellow rose plant which bears yellow roses. So we will take a part of the yellow rose and we will put it in the red rose. Okay, and then we will see what happens. So the flowers will come of red and as well as the yellow color. Okay, so that is something called as the grafting technique. Okay, so in these we do not require the transgenic technology. Okay, transgenic crop is from cytoplasmic male sterility as well as gene silencing. So what are these two? Cytoplasmic male sterility means when a plant's male organs are not able to perform the function. Okay, when they are not able to form the anther, or when they are not able to function in any kind of cases, then we will require for the transgenic crops. Okay, otherwise gene silencing. What is gene silencing? Suppose we know that we know the sequence. Okay, we know the sequence, but we do not want any particular character. Okay, or any particular segment of the gene. So what we will do? We will cross that particular segment off. Okay, we will scissor it out. Okay, that is called as gene silencing. That means what? Any particular trait will not be shown, it will be hidden. So 2 and 3 are correct here. So transgenic plants are the plants into which one or more genes have from the other species have been introduced into the genome, including genetic engineering process. Gene silencing is the regulation of the gene expression in a cell to prevent the expression of the certain gene. Gene silencing can also occur during either transcription or translation. Next up, maize can be used for production of starch. Oil extracted from the maize can be a feedstock for biodiesel. And alcoholic beverages can be used for production, can be produced by using maize. So which of the following is correct? Okay, from the above three, which of the following is correct? Basically all are correct here. So first of all, yes, maize can be used for the production of starch. And if you know about the alcoholic production, if there is starch in something, okay, if starch is present in something, it can obviously be converted into alcohol. That means what? If starch is present, if fermentation can be done, then what is alcohol? Alcohol is nothing but the fermentation of starch, right or not? So oil extracted from the maize, yes, it can be used as a feedstock for biodiesel, that's correct. Then alcoholic beverages can be produced using maize, that is also correct, since fermentation of starch can be done over here. Next question. Which of the following is a disease that has been eradicated in India? Diphtheria, chickenpox, smallpox. So the answer is 3 only. Smallpox has actually been eradicated. So according to WHO, smallpox is a disease that has been eradicated not only in India, in the entire world, as a result of human efforts. Okay, as a result of human efforts, this particular disease has been eradicated. Okay, so smallpox will be the answer. Diphtheria, chickenpox is still existing. Okay, so I hope you would have learnt a lot from these all questions. In the part 2, we will again discuss about a few other questions. Okay, so currently my objective is to bring out previous year UPSC questions of 5 years. Okay, so thank you everybody for watching, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next class. Friends, my name is Yagyasani Patra. I teach on Unacademy Live. This is my referral code YAGYALIVE, YAGYALIVE. If you use my referral code, then you will get another 10% discount on your Unacademy Plus subscription. This is the Telegram link t.me/unacademyopsc. If you join this particular channel, you will get free study materials. Apart from that, you will get video updates about my next videos. For Civil Services 2021, Odisha Foundation course has been launched. So Nirman Foundation course jaha ki 25th May start ho jai. In that we are preparing students for Odisha Civil Services 2021. I am teaching science, tech and current affair in this particular course. So what are all my courses on Unacademy? First of all, Polity from M. Lakshmikant part 1 has been already completed. So you can watch the recordings, and my upcoming course Polity from M. Lakshmikant part 2 will just be started in June. So if you want to learn polity from me, you can join me on Unacademy. Then complete science and technology for OPSC and other government job examinations. Third, current affairs. So weekly current affairs also I am covering on Unacademy platform. This is my referral code YAGYA9, and alternatively you can also use my referral code YAGYALIVE YAGYALIVE for getting additional 10% discount. So आपण a referral code को भी use करी परिबे, and you can also use this referral code to get an additional 10% discount. These are my courses, so if you want to learn from me, you can join me on Unacademy Plus platform. So basically, what are the upcoming courses on Unacademy? First of all, there is a Garud course. In this Garud course for CPSC mains, that is the police services mains, grammar, that is Odia grammar, reasoning and general awareness are being taught by 3 grade educators. Next up, Laksha OHC ASO course, in which for ASO aspirants, this particular course, it is a comprehensive course and it has started. The payment pattern is for 6 months it is 5,600, for 12 months it is 7,000 rupees, for 24 months it is 8,400 rupees. So as we know friends, when we prepare for this government job examination, we do not go for one government examination, we appear for many. Similarly, the preparation time is also not limited. We have to keep giving the examination. So according to me, the ideal plan is for 2 years or 1 year, in which not only one government examination like OPSC, but many government examination like OPSC, ASO, CPSC, Police SI, OMC, all kind of government examinations conducted by the government of Odisha will be given due importance, and individual courses will be launched for them. So you will get training not only for one exam but for many, okay, under the single platform of Unacademy. In this fee structure, you will get additional 10% if you use my referral code YAGYA9 YAGYA9, or if you use my referral code YAGYALIVE YAGYALIVE, okay, to get additional 10% discount. Apart from that, there is no cost EMI option available for 6 months, 12 months and 24 months on your subscription. Finally, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day and let's crack it.